Vrindavan Part 2, Mandal, Uttar Pradesh, India. Shri Radha Damodar Mandir.
Jiva Goswami, born 1511, who was the younger nephew of Rupa and Sanatana, arrived in Vrindavana in 1536 after completing his studies at Varanasi. To properly understand Vrindavana and the importance of the Radha Damodara Mandira, one should clearly understand the ontological position of Sri Rupa, Sri Sanatana, and Sri Jiva. In the Nitya Leela of Sri Radha and Krishna, the Madhurya Rasa is considered the topmost. In the Madhurya Rasa, Sri Radha is the supreme reservoir of prema for Sri Krishna. The whole plane of the Madhurya Rasa is the majesty of her sentiments of devotion and love for Sri Krishna. This highest expression of prema for Sri Krishna is called Mahabhava, and it is exclusively the domain of Sri Radha. Sri Radha has a multitude of confidential associate servitors imbued with aspects of her loving sentiments for Sri Krishna, chief of which are the Astasakas, Lalita Devi, Vishakha Devi, Sitra Devi, Indulkha Devi, Ranga Devi, Tungavadya Devi, Kampakalana Devi and Sudevi. Of these 8 gopis, Lalita Devi and Visakha Devi are the principal two, and of these Lalita Devi is the constant advisor to Sri Radha. Under the shelter and care of Lalita Devi are younger gopis known as Manjaris. These Manjaris are of a very tender age and are the choicest servants of Sri Radha and Krishna during their various intimate loving pastimes in the forest of Vrindavana. Like Sri Radha and Krishna, the gopis and the Manjaris all have especially pleasing spiritual bodies made of the supremely transcendental substance known as Sinmaya Rasa. As such, there is no material desire that can contaminate the prema leela of Sri Radha Krishna and their intimate associates. One should never think that the love of Sri Radha and Krishna is on the same platform as the so-called love that exists in the material world. Sri Radha Krishna prema is transcendental and above the contamination of the modes of material nature characterized by lust, anger and greed. Chief among the Manjaris who perform the most intimate service to Sri Radha Krishna are Rupa Manjari, Lavanga Manjari and Vilasa Manjari. These 3 Manjaris have incarnated on earth as Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami and Jiva Goswami respectively to reveal the Leela stenas of Sri Radha and Krishna for the benefit of all human beings. Rupa Goswami is known as the Abhaya Akriya, Sanatana Goswami is the Sambandha Akriya and Jiva Goswami is the Tattva Akriya. Abhaya is the principal status in which one is able to serve Radha and Krishna. Sambandha is the knowledge of Radha Krishna, the Jivas and their intrinsic relationship of service. Tattva means the ultimate truth about Radha Krishna and their energies, associates, supreme abode and pastimes. Of all the places of Leela in Vrindavana, the area where the Rasa Leela of Radha and Krishna was performed is most glorious. During those divine pastimes of Rasa Leela, Sri Krishna suddenly took Sri Radha to a secret place in Vrindavana, and there in that magnificent grove Sri Krishna became bound by the ropes of Sri Radha's affection. Thus Krishna became known as Damodara, bound by the love of Sri Radha. This place of magnificent beauty and charm in the Rasa Leela of Sri Radha and Krishna is none other than the site where the Mandira of Sri Radha Damodara is located. Similarly, Sri Krishna was bound by the ropes of Mother Yasoda's love, Vatsalya Bhava, and for this he is also universally glorified as Damodara. One who desires the supreme perfection of life should know that one who achieves prema for Sri Krishna achieves all perfection. Krishna is easily bound by the ropes of his devotees' love. This is the supreme secret of all secrets. In 1542, 7 years after his arrival in Vrindavana, Jiva Goswami received the Murti of Damodara directly manifest from the hands of Rupa Goswami. The Shri Murti was installed in the presence of Rupa and Sanatana on Sukla Dasami, in the month of Magha. This incident is mentioned in the book Satana Dipika, by Radha Krishna Goswami as follows. Out of compassion, Sri Rupa Goswami carved with his own hands the deity of Damodara and gave him to Jiva Goswami. During this time Jiva Goswami stayed under the shelter of his gurus and worshipped the Madhura under the trees of Vrindavana. In 1558 Jiva purchased the site that was to become the Radha Madhura Mandira for a sum of 30 rupees. The area purchased included Shavastali. The boundary of the land was marked by 4 trees, a kadamba, a pipal, a tamarind and a banyan. The plot ran from the Yamuna to Kunjagali. This was in a time long before the streets and marketplaces in Vrindavana were constructed. During that period the devotees in Vrindavana lived under trees or sometimes in thatched huts. It was not until some time later that the deity of Sri Radha and the deity of Sri Lalita Devi came to be with Madhura in Vrindavana. No exact date for this event is known, although the Stila Purana of the Radha Madhura Mandira says that this happened during the lifetime of Jiva. The short of the story surrounding the event is as follows. In Bengal a certain fisherman is said to have caught something very heavy in his net, and when he managed to draw it out he found 2 deities. He brought them to the king, who put them in his palace overnight. That night the king had a dream and was told to send the 2 deities to Jiva Goswami in Vrindavana. The next day the king left for Vrindavana and personally delivered the deities to Jiva Goswami. Jiva was overjoyed to see the deities but was confused as to who was who. That night Sri Radha came to Jiva in a dream and told him which deity was herself, Radha, and which was Lalita. The next day Jiva installed the deities in their appropriate places on either side of Madhura. In 1670, when the Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb invaded Sri Vrindavana with his armies, he planned to destroy many temples and deface the deities. At this instant Sri Radha Madhura manifests their pastime of travelling to the city of Jaipur in Rajasthan at the auspicious invitation of the Rajput kings. Other deities of Vrindavana such as Radha Govinda, Radha Gopinata and Radha Madana Mohana also manifest their pastimes of travelling to Rajasthan, where they took up permanent residence. However, in 1739 Sri Radha Madhura manifested their Leela of returning to Vrindavan and again taking up residence in their original temple, the Radha Madhura Mandira. Above information is narrated in Sri Madhura Katha by Srila B.G. Narasana Maharaja. Besides the deities of Sri Radha Madhura, also kept in this temple are the deities originally worshipped by Krishna Dasa Kaviraja, Radha Vrindavana Kandra, Jiva Goswami, Radha Madhava, Burga Urba Goswami, Radha Chalachakn, as well as the Govardhana Sila of Srila Sanatana Goswami, which has the footprint of Lord Krishna impressed upon it. The Govardhana Sila of Sanatana Goswami has a very interesting story. It so happened that Sanatana Goswami used to circumambulate Govardhana hill every day as part of his daily vows, even in his old age. One day, Lord Krishna in the guise of a beautiful cowherd boy, suddenly appeared before Sanatana Goswami, and requested him that now you are very old, there is no need to go around Govardhana hill every day. Sanatana replied that as he had taken such a vow to daily circumambulate Govardhana, he could not stop. Understanding Sanatana's determination, Krishna then stood on a big stone from the hill and started playing his flute. The flute playing of the Lord was so enchanting, that the stone started to melt and Krishna's footprint got impressed upon it, and also the hoofprint of a calf, along with Krishna's flute and his stick used for herding cows. Krishna then gave this stone from Govardhana hill to Sanatana and told that, from today you can circumambulate this. Sanatana Goswami departed from this world in 1558 and attained the eternal realm of Goloka Vrindavana, at which time Rupa Goswami instructed Jiva to bring the stone of Govardhana worshipped by Sanatana at Kakravarti, Govardhana hill, to Vrindavana and to continue the pujas. One who circumambulates the Radha Madhura Mandira, the Govardhana Sila within, 4 times achieves all perfection. In the year 1608, Srila Jiva Goswami entered Samadhi and his sacred body was placed here near to his beloved deities, Radha Madhura. The youngest of the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavana, Jiva Goswami was considered to be the greatest philosopher in Indian history. After the disappearance of Rupa and Sanatana, Jiva Goswami became the Akriya for all the Gaudiya Vaisnavas. Jiva Goswami was also the most prolific writer amongst the 6 Goswamis, and wrote over 25 books. He was so expert in Sanskrit that he is considered the foremost Sanskrit scholar that ever lived, and to this day, the Banaras Hindu University honors him with an entire department dedicated to the study of his books. He was the son of Anyapama, the younger brother of Rupa and Sanatana Goswamis. After the death of Jiva Goswami's mother, his father Anyapama died shortly after his birth. Jiva decided to renounce the world and join his uncles, Rupa and Sanatana in Vrindavana. On his way to Vrindavana he first visited Navadvipa where he met Lord Nityananda, who took him on a tour of all the holy places of Navadvipa Dhamma. Lord Nityananda told Jiva that on his way to Vrindavana he should stop at Benares, Kasi, and study under the great learned Pandit Madhyasudana Vakaspati, who was a disciple of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. In a very short time Jiva became well versed in all aspects of Vedanta philosophy and his reputation grew as an eminent scholar. Jiva Goswami then left on the last leg of his journey to Vrindavana where he was greeted on his arrival by his 2 uncles Rupa and Sanatana. Jiva then took shelter of Rupa Goswami who accepted him as his disciple. Srila Jiva Goswami was an incarnation of Vilas Manjari, one of the 8 intimate maidservants of Srimati Radharani in the spiritual world. Next to Jiva Goswami's samadhi, is the samadhi of Krishna Das Kaviraja, a close confidant of the 6 Goswamis. Lord Nityananda appeared in a dream to Krishna Das and ordered him to go to Vrindavana. He took initiation from Raghunatha Dasa Goswami and lived near his guru on the bank of Radhakunda. He was an erudite scholar and had studied all the branches of Vedic knowledge. He wrote as number of books, but the most famous was the great classic, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, which he completed in 1581. Just 1 year later in 1582 he entered Samadhi and his sacred body was entombed here at Radha temple. Krishna Das Kaviraja is an incarnation of Kastri Manjari. The site is under renovation, so no one was allowed to enter the area. Here in the courtyard of the Radha temple, is the Bhajana Kutira of Srila Rupa Goswami. This spot was formerly in the middle of Shaivakunja and it is here that Rupa Goswami made his headquarters, wrote many of his innumerable books, as well as conducted discourses on the Bhagavatam, amongst the other Goswamis and their associates.
Srila Rupa Goswami Bhajan Kutir.
Srila Rupa Goswami entered Samadhi in the year 1564 and his sacred body was entombed at this very site by his beloved disciple and nephew Jiva Goswami. Rupa Goswami first arrived in Vrindavana along with his elder brother Sanatana Goswami in the year 1516, after receiving the direct order of Lord Chaitanya to proceed to Vrindavana and fulfill 4 specific tasks. Firstly, to excavate the lost holy sites of Lord Krishna's pastimes in and around Vrindavana. To construct temples dedicated to Radha and Krishna, and also establish the rules and regulations of deity worship. And lastly, to compile books on the transcendental process of Bhakti Yoga, the science of devotional service to the Lord. Through his writings Srila Rupa Goswami chalked out the perfect spiritual path for all the followers of Lord Chaitanya down through the ages. It was Rupa Goswami who more than anyone else, firmly established the Sankirtana movement of Lord Chaitanya. He wrote a large number of important books on the science of Bhakti Yoga and after the disappearance of Lord Chaitanya in 1534, Rupa became the undisputed leader of all the Gaudiya Vaisnavas in the world. Even today all Gaudiya Vaisnavas are known as Rupanugas, or followers of Srila Rupa Goswami. Rupa Goswami's most famous book is Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, the ocean of the nectar of devotion, which must be read by all aspiring Vaisnavas and forms the solid foundation of the Bhakti movement of Lord Chaitanya. The essence of this book was explained directly to Rupa by Lord Chaitanya during their historic meeting at Prayag, Allahabad, in 1516. After teaching Rupa all the important aspects of devotional service, the Lord sent him to Vrindavan to compile books on these very teachings. Srila Rupa Goswami was an incarnation of Rupa Manjari, the most important of the 8 confidential maidservants of Srimati Radharani in the spiritual world. It is said that without taking shelter of Srila Rupa Goswami one cannot enter into the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya, and without taking shelter of Rupa Manjari one cannot enter into the confidential loving pastimes of Sri Sri Radha and Krishna.
Srila Rupa Goswami Samadhi Mandir.
Known throughout the world as the illustrious founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, Srila Prabhupada was living in Vrindavana before going to America to preach Krishna consciousness. It was in 1959 that Srila Prabhupada first moved into the Radha temple where he occupied rooms. In one room he performed his bhajana and wrote his English translation to the Srimad Bhagavatam. In the other, he prepared and accepted prasada while looking across the courtyard at the Samadhi and Bhajana Kutira of Srila Rupa Goswami. Moving to the Radha temple was a major turning point in the life of Srila Prabhupada. Here, he received the divine blessings of Rupa and Jiva Goswamis, and the inspiration to take the message of Lord Krishna to the West. This is where he formulated his plans to inundate the world with Krishna consciousness, and also where he got the idea of starting ISKCON, an international society of devotees, following the teachings of Lord Chaitanya and dedicated to the devotional service of Lord Krishna. It was also while staying at Radha that Srila Prabhupada accepted the Sannyasa order of life on September 17, 1959. In 1965, Srila Prabhupada left the Radha temple and Vrindavana with just 1 crate of Srimad Bhagavatams and only 40 rupees. He then sailed to America to spread both the glories of Lord Sri Krishna and Vrindavana Dhamma to the people of the world. Srila Prabhupada had once confided to his senior disciples that he is eternally present in his rooms at the Radha temple. In this room Srila Prabhupada prepared and accepted prasada. In this room Srila Prabhupada did bhajana and wrote his English translation to the Srimad Bhagavatam.
Shri Shri Radha Shyam Sundar Mandir.
Deity of Sri Sri Shyam Sundarji has not been carved out by any mortal artist. Srimati Radharani herself manifested him from her lotus heart on the auspicious day of Basant Panchami of year 1578 AD and gifted to Sri Shyamananda Prabhu. Before his disappearance, Sri Shyamananda Prabhu entrusted the duty of service to Sri Sri Shyam Sundarji, to Sri Razikanand Prabhu. After Sri Razikanand Prabhu, his descendants have been performing this duty very efficiently. Sri Shyamananda Prabhu, the great soul instrumental in the process of manifestation of Sri Sri Shyam Sundarji by Srimati Radharani, was born in village Tarinda of Midnapur district of West Bengal. After taking Diksha of Sri Krishna mantra from Srila Hridaya Chaitanya Adhikari Thakur in Ambika, he came to Vrajadam for bhajan. Feeling fully satisfied and happy from his unblemished devotion, Srimati Radharani showered her grace on him and gave to him very skillfully the anklet of her left foot, named Manjugosh, which was studded with very precious jewel Indranilmani. After that, further showering extreme grace on him, first of all Sri Lalita Sakhi and then Srimati Radharani herself appeared before him and adorned his forehead with extremely new tilak known as Shyam Mohan tilak, having a divine round mark within it. Sri Lalita Sakhi named him as Shyamanand and Sri Vishakha Sakhi addressed him as Kanak Manjari. At that juncture, Sri Shyamananda Prabhu became restless due to anticipated separation from Srimati Radharani. Because of this, Srimati Radharani, showering her choicest blessings on him, manifested the divine deity of Sri Sri Shyam Sundarji from her lotus heart and gifted to Sri Sri Shyamananda Prabhu for service. The original deity given to Shyamananda Prabhu by Srimati Radharani can be seen to the right of the altar. Valid Vividyabhushan also looked after this temple when he lived in Vrindavana while studying under Visvanatha Cakravarti. The large deity on the central altar was personally worshipped by Baladva. The sequence of the events leading to the manifestation of Sri Shyam Sundarji, Lalaji, is miraculous and supernatural. Srila Shyamananda Prabhu at the age of 18 took Diksha from Srila Hridaya Chaitanya Adhikari Thakur, in Kalna, a place near Sri Navadweep Dam. He satisfied his Gurudev with his extreme devotion and service etc. Noticing that Srila Shyamananda Prabhu had aptitude and desired devotion for Krishna bhajan, his Gurudev sent him to Vrindavana for bhajan under Raganuga stream of devotion. After reaching Vrindavan, he got constructed underground devotional hut in Shaiva Kunjarya near Sri Radhadamodar temple and got immersed in sadhana, under the stewardship of Vaishnava Diadem, Srila Jiva Goswami. After 12 years of very hard sadhana, he was able to attain extreme divine grace of Srimati Radharani Jai, which had neither been achieved by anyone in the past nor it would be possible for any person to achieve it in future. Sometimes, Srila Shyamananda Prabhu used to do Haranam with extreme devotion, while sometimes, he would do japa of Ishtamantra. Sometimes, he would experience the Leelas, pastimes, being performed by Sri Radhakrishna Ji. He used to wander in the groves in search of Thakurji. Seeing his strong desire to have darshana of Sri Shyam Sundarji, even stone-hearted persons used to become emotional. Srila Shyamananda Prabhu used to go to Raststali of Naivan early in the morning for cleaning and sweeping the groves. Vasant Panchami day of the year 1578 AD became a golden day in the history of both Sri Vrindavan Dham and Vaishnava world. Srila Shyamananda Prabhu was able to prove beyond doubt how a true devotee could achieve success in getting the extreme grace of Srimati Radharani Ji with his hard sadhana. On the eve of Vasant Panchami, he was deeply immersed in remembering the most melodious pastimes of Sri Sri Radha Shyam Sundarji. Suddenly it occurred to him that Srimati Radharani Ji and her Sakhas had formed a circle around Sri Shyam Sundarji, by holding each other's hands. Sometimes Sri Shyam Sundarji used to dance, while sometimes Sakhas would do so. At one occasion, Srimati Radharani herself started dancing to give more joy and pleasure to Sri Shyam Sundarji. Seeing her enchanting dance, Sri Shyam Sundarji along with Sakhas, got immersed in the ocean of tranquility. Noticing Sri Shyam Sundarji immersed in ecstasy, Srimati Radharani Ji felt happy and started performing the dance vigorously. During this period, golden anklet called Manjugasha slipped from her left foot and fell at the dancing place. Since all were in joyous mood and enjoying the dance, nobody noticed the above loss. After some time, the Rasleela and merrymaking were over. All the participants left for their respective homes. After the night was over, Srila Shyamananda Prabhu got up and as usual he left for the groves in the Rastali with his scraping instrument, Kirpa, and the broom for doing the cleaning job. As soon as he started his work, he saw a glittering object under a pomegranate tree. He ran towards it and became wonderstruck seeing that it was a celestial, invaluable golden anklet studded with precious stones called Indraneel Mani. He hid it under his garments and started doing his cleaning job. After some time, Srimati Radharani Ji came to that place with her Sakhas, in disguise. In search of the anklet she herself stood behind a creeper with her other companions, while Sri Lalita Sakhi went to Srila Shyamananda Prabhu and requested him to give back the anklet found by him. On a request from Srila Shyamananda Prabhu, Sri Lalita Sakhi appeared before him, in her real form and gave to him Siddh Radha mantra. Parents of Srila Shyamananda Prabhu used to call him Ducky. After Diksha, his Gurudeva had named him as Ducky Krishnadas. Sri Lalita Sakhi, now named him as Shyamananda as he had delighted Srimati Shyamaji, Srimati Radharani ji. On direction from Srimati Radharani, Sri Vrindaji took him to Sri Radhakunda for taking a bath. As soon as he came out of Radhakunda after having a dip, he attained supernatural form of a Manjari and he got darshan of Srimati Radharani ji. On direction from Srimati Radharani ji, Sri Lalita Saki ji touched the forehead of Srila Shyamananda Prabhu, with the ankle belt of Srimati Radharani ji. Surprisingly, his hairy mandar tilak was converted into a supernatural anklet, Nupur, tilak. Srimati Radharani herself made a bright, round mark within the Nupur tilak with the help of front part of anklet. This tilak was named as Shyam Mohan tilak. Sri Visvanatha Saki ji, after having his darshana in Manjari form, addressed him as Kanak Manjari. After bestowing upon him her choicest blessings and grace, when Srimati Radharani ji asked him to go back to the mortal world, Srila Shyamananda Prabhu felt very much perturbed and started wailing in distress. Seeing his pitiable condition, Srimati Radharani ji also felt deeply afflicted and taking pity on him, she manifested the Shrivigraha of Sri Shyam Sundarji, Lalaji, from her lotus heart and gifted to him for service and devotion. After this, Srimati Radharani ji disappeared along with her Sakhis. Those days, Srila Shyamananda Prabhu used to live in his underground devotional hut. He started the service of Sri Lalaji at that place. On Vasant Panchami day of 1580 AD, he performed marriage of Lalaji, with the self-manifested deity of Srimati Radharani ji found among the invaluable gems in the royal treasury of the king of Barrackpur in Rajasthan and immersed deep in the devotion and service of the divine couple. The king of Barrackpur got constructed a magnificent temple, near the underground Bhajan kutir of Srila Shyamananda Prabhu. Lalaji and Laliji were shifted to this temple. According to scriptures and Siddhakishori Das Babaji Maharaj of Kaladaha, whole of the area on the eastern side of the road between Sri Radha Shyam Sundar and Sri Radha Damodar temples, was part of Naivanand area falling on the western side of the road, was called Shaiva Kunj. Due to construction of many temples, ashrams and maths etc. on both sides of this road, both Naivan and Shaiva Kunj are now confined to very small area. However, according to old demarcation, Samadhi of Srila Shyamananda Prabhu and the place where ankle belt of Srimati Radharani ji was found, fall in Naivan area.
श्रीला श्यामानंदा प्रभु समाधि मंदिर। श्री राधा रमण मंदिर।
This is the famous temple of Gopala Bhatta Goswami. The Shaiva Puja of Radhamana was established in 1542. After the deity self-manifested from a saligram sila. Also kept in this temple is the wooden sitting place, choki, and shawl, chadar, of Lord Chaitanya that he gave as a gift to Gopala Bhatta Goswami. Once, on Lord Narasimha's appearance day, a rich businessman made an offering of clothes, grounds, and jewelry to Gopala Bhatta Goswami, who lamented that as he was worshipping saligram sila, which is round just like a stone, he could not utilize such articles like the other Goswamis were in dressing their deities. Lamenting in this way, the Goswami took rest. Early the next morning, when he came to bathe his saligram silas, he discovered that one of the silas had transformed into the most beautiful deity of Krishna, who had manifest himself out of love, just to receive worship from Gopala Bhatta Goswami. Radhamana means one who gives pleasure to Radha, and is one of the many names of Lord Krishna. There is no deity of Radharani in this temple, but a crown is kept next to Krishna signifying her presence.
Appearance place of Sri Radharamana.
In 1585, Gopala Bhatta Goswami entered Samadhi and his sacred body was entombed here next to the place where he worshipped his beloved deity, Radhamana. One of the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavana, Gopala Bhatta Goswami was the son of Venkata Bhatta, a Brahmana priest of Srirangam temple in Tamil Nadu. His uncle Prabodhananda Sarasvati also became his spiritual master. In the year 1511, after having taken sannyasa, Lord Chaitanya visited Srirangam and upon seeing the deity of Lord Ranganatha, started to dance in ecstasy. Venkata Bhatta joined the dancing and chanting along with the Lord, who bestowed his mercy on Venkata by embracing him. Venkata Bhatta then invited Lord Chaitanya to stay at his house during the 4 months of the rainy season, Chaturmasya. At this time Gopala Bhatta, as a young boy, got the chance to serve Lord Chaitanya and hear about devotional service from the Lord's lotus mouth. Gopala also used to get the remnants from the Lord's plate, thus receiving the full blessings of Lord Chaitanya. After some time Lord Chaitanya left on his tour of South India. He told Gopala Bhatta that in the future he should go and stay in Vrindavana. He studied under the expert guidance of his uncle and guru Prabodhananda Sarasvati. Gopala Bhatta became learned in Sanskrit, poetry, rhetoric and all aspects of the revealed scriptures. His scholarship was unparalleled. After the passing away of Gopala Bhatta's parents, he left home and went to Vrindavana, where he joined Rupa and Sanatana, who had already been informed by Lord Chaitanya that Gopala Bhatta would soon come, and from that time on their lifelong friendship began. After spending time in Vrindavana studying and writing, Gopala Bhatta made a trip to Nepal, where he obtained 12 saligram silas, sacred black stones. How he obtained these saligram silas is very interesting. One day he was taking his bath in the Kali Gandaki river. As he thrust his kamandala, water pot, into the river to scoop water for bathing, 12 saligram silas mysteriously entered his kamandala. He then put them back into the water and tried again to scoop water for his bath. Again the same number of saligram silas entered his kamandala. Again Gopala Bhatta put them back into the river. When this happened a 3rd time, Gopala Bhatta decided that this must be the Lord's divine plan, and he kept the silas in a cloth bag and hung them around his neck. From that time on he worshipped these saligram silas and later returned to Vrindavana. On the appearance day of Lord Narasimha, in the year 1542, one of the saligram silas manifested into the wonderful deity form of the Lord Krishna, much to the great pleasure of Gopala Bhatta Goswami. The Goswamis named the deity Radhamana, one who gives pleasure to Radha. It was Gopala Bhatta Goswami who was responsible for originating the 6 theses of Sat Sandarbha, later elaborately developed by Jiva Goswami. He also edited the Hari Bhakti laws. Gopala Bhatta Goswami's most prominent disciple was Srinivasa Acharya. Gopala Bhatta Goswami was an incarnation of Sri Gunamanjari, one of the 8 intimate maidservants of Srimati Radharani in the spiritual world.
Shri Shri Radha Gokulananda.
This temple was founded by Lokanath Goswami, who performed bhajana at this spot. The small, but very beautiful deity of Gokulananda was worshipped by Visvanatha Cakravarti Thakura. Also kept in this temple are the deities worshipped by Lokanath Goswami, Radhavinoda, Baladva Vidyabhusana, Vijay Govinda, and Narottama Dasa Thakura, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Also here is the small Govardhana Sila given to Ranata Dasa Goswami by Lord Chaitanya, which has the Lord's thumb impression upon it. The sacred body of Lokanath Goswami was entombed here at the place where he performed his bhajana, just next to the temple of Radha Gokulananda, which was established by him. Sometimes called the 7th Goswami of Vrindavana, Lokanath Goswami was a close associate of the 6 Goswamis and was specially known for its humility and renunciation. Lokanath was sent to Vrindavana in the year 1509 by Lord Chaitanya, who appeared in a dream and ordered Lokanath along with his close friend Bhuga to locate all the sacred forests of Vraja, and re-establish the holy places of Lord Krishna's pastimes. Lord Chaitanya also informed Lokanath Goswami that in the future he would have to initiate one important person as his disciple of the name Narottama. Some years later Lokanath Goswami accepted Narottama as his only disciple. It is believed that Lokanath Goswami entered Samadhi somewhere between 1583 and 1588. Lokanath Goswami was an incarnation of Manjulali Manjari, one of the 8 confidential maidservants of Srimati Radharani in the spiritual world. This Puspa Samadhi of Narottama Dasa contains a garland, cloth, kapina and japa beads used by him. His guru was Lokanath Goswami. He became famous as a great preacher and singer of kirtanas and bhajanas. Even today, his songs are most popular amongst the Vaisnavas. Srila Prabhupada loved to sing the beautiful songs of Narottama Dasa Thakura. When Lord Chaitanya was on a tour of Bengal, he visited Ramakli to see Rupa and Sanatana. At that time Lord Chaitanya went to the river Padma, and on the opposite bank he could see the village of Khetri, now in Bangladesh. On gazing into the water the Lord suddenly began to call out, "O Narottama! O Narottama!" in the most ecstatic of moods. Lord Chaitanya then told his devotees, "Very soon a great personality will be born in the village of Khetri. His name will be Narottama, and he will absorb my curtain Raja with all of my love." The Lord then informed the devotees that he would bathe in the river Padma, and when Narottama came there to bathe, the water would extend to him the Lord's divine love. In 1534, the year of Lord Chaitanya's disappearance, Narottama took birth at Khetri. His father was a great king, even though by caste they were Kayastas, Sudra. Narottama became a brilliant student and loved to hear the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya. One day soon after Narottama became a teenager, Lord Nityananda appeared to him in a dream and told him, "Tomorrow morning you should take your bath in the river Padma, at that time you will receive pure love of God." On waking, Narottama went immediately to the Padma river and on entering the waters experienced a spiritual transformation. As Narottama went into a deep ecstasy, Lord Chaitanya suddenly appeared before Narottama and embraced him. Narottama felt the spirit of the Lord enter his heart. At that moment Narottama's dark complexion turned to molten gold, the same color as Lord Chaitanya's body. On coming out of the water, Narottama started to dance in ecstasy up and down the bank of the river. After some hours, Narottama's parents came looking for him, and when they saw the golden-complexioned youth dancing in ecstasy, they could not at first recognize him as their own son. On bringing him home they realized he was a changed person, continually chanting the holy names of the Lord both day and night. After some months, Narottama had another dream that Lord Chaitanya appeared and again embraced him. This time the Lord told Narottama to proceed immediately to Vrindavana and take initiation from Lokanath Goswami. Soon after this dream, Narottama ran away from home and went to Vrindavana, much to the despair of his parents. On arriving before the Govindaji deity in Vrindavana, Narottama fainted and fell on the ground. At that time he manifested 8 different symptoms of ecstasy. On hearing about this, Jiva Goswami immediately came there to meet Narottama, who the devotees of Vrindavana had been waiting for since the prediction of Narottama's appearance by Lord Chaitanya. In Vrindavana Narottama stayed under the care of Lokanath Goswami and for over 1 year performed menial service in the hope of receiving initiation. Out of humility, Lokanath Goswami did not feel qualified to accept disciples, but in a dream Lord Chaitanya appeared to Lokanath and reminded him of his order to accept Narottama as a disciple. Lokanath Goswami then immediately gave initiation to Narottama and asked him to study Bhakti Sutras under the guidance of Jiva Goswami. After some time Jiva Goswami ordered Narottama, Srinivasa Acharya and Simananda to go and preach in Bengal and Orissa. Narottama returned to his native village Khetri and organized the first ever Gaura Purnima festival celebrating the appearance day of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. All the followers of Lord Chaitanya from Bengal and Orissa attended this huge celebration, including the senior-most Vaisnava at the time, Janavamata, the consort of Lord Nityananda and her son Virabhadra. At the festival, Narottama installed 5 sets of deities and Srinivasa Acharya presided over the Abhisak, bathing ceremony. One of these deities, Vraja, is now being worshipped in Vrindavana. Narottama preached extensively all over Bengal, Manipur and Assam with the help of his innumerable disciples. His most prominent disciple was Shyamananda Cakravarti, and his very close companion was Ramakandra Kaviraja. Entombed here is the sacred body of Srila Visvanatha Cakravarti Thakura, who disappeared from the world in the year 1708. He was the greatest Acharya during the 17th century, and his contribution to the Gaudiya Vaisnava movement of Lord Chaitanya is unparalleled. He was born in the Nadia district of West Bengal of Brahmana parents in the year 1638. As a boy he became an expert scholar in Sanskrit, poetry and rhetoric and was undefeated in argument and debate. Visvanatha was married by his parents at a very young age, but having no attraction for family life, he soon left home and went to Vrindavana, where he stayed at Radhakunda. After some years he returned to Bengal, where his Diksha Guru, Srila Rupa Chakravarti, ordered him to honor his family commitment and spend the night in the bed of his young and beautiful wife. Following the order of his guru, he entered the bed of his wife but simply lay there chanting the holy name of the Lord until morning. After hearing what happened, Visvanatha's guru was very pleased to know that his disciple was so pure and had perfect control over his senses. Visvanatha's guru then asked him to come and live in his own house and make a copy by hand of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Visvanatha became so absorbed in copying the Bhagavatam that he would go into a trance. Even though the sun was beating down, the spot where Visvanatha sat was somehow or other shaded as if by a miracle. It started to rain, but again somehow the spot where Visvanatha sat writing, no rain fell. A local landowner saw this miracle and informed all the townspeople, much to Visvanatha's embarrassment. After some time his guru ordered him to return to Vrindavana, where he again stayed at Radhakunda and wrote many authoritative books on devotional service. He also composed and sang many beautiful devotional songs, the most famous being Shri Shri Sarvastaka, the prayers to the spiritual master, sung every morning during Mangalarati in ISKCON centers around the world. Below are the details of my other videos. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to Sri Sri Guru and Sri Sri Gauranga.